John Grasser, soccer, 1968 to 72. It's quite an honor, in my opinion, to be inducted into the LIU Hall of Fame. I know a lot of the names that have been inducted already, a lot of the great players that have been before me and after me, and as far as my personal experience is concerned, like I said, it's quite an honor, not only for me, I feel for also the team that I played with, and I consider this a shared honor with my teammates. I love coming back here. I love seeing how the program has developed, what John Suarez and the athletic department has done for LIU athletics. When I played, our locker room was about a 10 by 12 changing room. You can't even call it a locker room. The trainer's room was about 12 by 15. We had two training tables. Like I said, we didn't even have a field. The years we did have a field out here, it resembled more of a potato patch than a soccer field. And just seeing what the program has come to now, and the fact that they've been able to develop such a great program and renew the alumni association the way they have, I think it's fantastic for LIU and for guys like me who have been invited back to share in it. Well, we were special in a certain respect as we were the first team that regular season went undefeated with LIU and LIU soccer. It was rather a tumultuous time for us. We went through 3 coaches in a matter of 4 years. In my senior year, we didn't even have a home field to play on. It was necessary for us to travel out to CW Post. We jumped on a bus. We dressed here. We jumped on a bus. It took us over an hour to get to our home field. So we had a good number of challenges. But like I said, we played for each other. We played for our coach, Danny Burke, first-year coach at the same time, first year ever coaching soccer, and we ended up ranked number 7 in the nation. So it was quite a special year for me, my senior year.
Well, what can you say about John? He's good-natured, funny, happy-go-lucky, patient. Forget it, John. I'll give you your money back. All right? We live upstate, Daisy and I. And I told her, look, we have to go to Brooklyn, and we have to go to Brooklyn. She goes, why? Well, we're doing John. We're honoring John. So who's John? John Grasser. So my wife says, we don't even like that guy. But we really do. I mean, we go to all his concerts, or try most of them, which you should do. He plays for 2 bands. Growing up, he wanted to play music very badly, and now he does. So he's very good. You guys should try it. Offshoots and Vintage 6. We do the barbecues together, and that started because John was the grill master, but he's not all the things I said before, but he's very competitive and he's very passionate, very passionate. So, and being as competitive as he is, he used to have his brats and his hot dogs, and I used to bring Italian sausages. Now, he used to push the Italian sausages off the grill, so now I had to get involved. We had a very good defense when we played. 1972, 73. We played 31 games in those years. We had 31 goals against in those 2 years. We lost 1 game in the regular season in those 2 years. We lost a game in the playoffs, a semifinal of New York State. Now, New York State, whoever won New York State at that time, would play New England, the champion of New England, and that would be, the winner would be in the Final Four. We would go to the Orange. We were, I guess, 2 games away that year from the Final Four. The last year that he played, we didn't lose any games. Just the last game, the final of New York State. So we were 1 game away. I mean, we're really sorry we didn't make it. But to play that well, I mean, we had a good defense. We really had a good defense. We had Freddie Weber, Raymond Wallace, and Rosario Composto, who couldn't be here. He tried to be here today. We were really, really good. But John was behind us, and we counted on John to cover our mistakes. And being here or coming here, I was wondering, I was thinking about those days. And then I started wondering, were we good? Were we that good? Or maybe we were just afraid. Because whenever anybody scored a goal, it didn't happen very often, but whenever anybody scored a goal, John wouldn't go back in the net to get the ball. And everybody else would turn around and go away because they would hear his mouth. You know, so I was the one elected. I used to go behind the net and I used to say, it's all right, John, it wasn't your fault. We'll get it back. Don't worry about it. We got this one. And I had to go get the ball. Now, I had to be very careful because I couldn't turn around the wrong way or else I would get a kick in my butt. And whenever I said, look, John, it's okay, he used to go, F you, Cisco. Right? He still does about other things. But he was the rock behind our defense. And we had a very good defense, and I'm very proud to call John my friend. And I want to congratulate him for all of us and for all the sweat, tears, and blood that we shed. And it was we were that good because of John. Thank you very much.
I just want you to know that Cisco played right fullback for most of his career with me, especially in my 2 last years. And when we'd have any corner kicks coming from the right side, Cisco would come to me and he'd go, I'll cover the front post for you. I'll cover the front post. Right? I used to go, no, Cisco, that's okay. I got it covered. You go out there.
Thank you, John.
Great man, a wonderful man, standing right there. And many more sitting down. Friends of mine for 40 years, the most important thing to me, more important than my induction into the Hall of Fame, is the friendships that I was able to develop and the friendships that I've kept for 40 years. These guys are in my heart. And they always will be. All right. First of all, this is the LIU that I remember. This is the LIU where I played. Not the fancy basketball court, not the fancy pool, not the fancy soccer field. But that being said, at the same time, as much as it pains me, I have to tip my hat to Mr. Suarez and his team for what they've done with LIU, with the LIU organization here. Cheers, Mr. Suarez. If you look around at this court, although there's basketball hoops up there, this is a perfect venue for 4-on-4 soccer. If we had 10 guys, we played 5-on-5 soccer with little goals. I cannot tell you how many hours I spent on this field playing games. If the game was close, you couldn't leave because the game was close. If you were losing or winning badly, you couldn't leave because if you were losing, you had to catch up. If you were winning, you had to stay to gloat. English lit and Western civilization took a back seat to 4-on-4 and 5-on-5 soccer. I hate to say it, but I was still able to graduate. 1972 was the year I did graduate. Just to give you a little idea of what life was like in those days, the average income for everybody in this country was $11,800. Gasoline cost 55 cents. We're not going to see that anymore. HBO launched its first subscription of cable television, which we knew would never last because nobody was going to pay for TV. And George Steinbrenner bought the Yankees from CBS for $12 million, baseball player. All right? We had lost the Beatles. The Beatles had broken up. But fortunately, we still had Led Zeppelin, and we had Monty Python's Flying Circus. So life was not over for a guy of my age. There was still something to live for. I'm very proud to have my family here today. My son, Derek, my daughter, Jeannie, the love of my life, Tammy, and my friends. Let me give you a little history about myself. I started with LIU in 1968, junior varsity. You were not allowed to play varsity in those days. 1968,
I came to LIU in 1966. The team had reached the Final Four. So I came walking into LIU, and all I heard was, oh, this is some team. This team reached the Final Four. Oh, Dov Marcus. Oh, Carlo Tramontosi. Oh, the Klavecka brothers. Oh, all Hall of Famers, all fantastic players who are all in the Hall of Fame and deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. But my first couple of years here were a little tumultuous. We had some trouble the first few years. We went through 3 coaching changes in 4 years of soccer here at LIU. We had a locker room that was about 10 by 15. It wasn't a locker room, it was a changing room. Because before we left, we had to get a bag. We had to get the valuable bag, or as Milan Politzer used to call it, the valuable bag. Everybody had to put their wallets in that bag and bring them out to the field because you were never sure if your stuff was going to be in the locker room when you came back. And this is not a joke. This was LIU in the 60s. Great school, we loved it, but you kept your valuables with you. The training room was a little bit bigger. It was probably 12 by 15. It had 2 tables on it. And if you were lucky, one of the basketball players wasn't laying on it whining about something, and if you were hurt, you could go out there and you know, get taken care of your injuries, because soccer took second place to basketball. Basketball was good as well. The field we had, the LIU soccer field that's out there now, the AstroTurf field, the field we had actually served 2 purposes. It was quite unique because during the season, it was an urban field. It served the inner city LIU soccer team. During the off season, it was more suburban because they raised corn on it. It was a potato patch. If you remember that field, if anybody remembers that field, I still have pieces of it in my hip. I still have pieces of it in my knee. Rocks, a little bit of grass, but we played on it, and we did well. We did relatively well. In 71, as Cisco said, we went 12-1-1. In 72, we were the first LIU soccer team to go undefeated in the regular season, which was, the team deserves the applause. To make this more remarkable, we were coached by a gym teacher, Danny Burke, who had never coached soccer before. He came in, he spent the summer in England at a soccer training course, learning the game in the summer to come coach us that fall. What Danny was able to do, he was only a few years older than we were. He saw the talent that he had, he realized it, he knew he had a bunch of city kids who had attitude, and at the same time, he was the kind of person that you wanted to play for. Danny was not only your coach, he was your friend. He made us play not only for each other, but we played for him. He was a great coach. He did a good job for us. And we were able to finish that season undefeated. At the end of the year, we were ranked number 7 nationally. To further tell you a little about that team, I spoke about the field out here, how bad it was. Well, in our last year, we didn't have a home field. There was construction going on. So we got dressed in our little locker room, took our valuable bag, jumped on a bus, took the BQE to the LIE, to exit 39, out to Brookville, and we played at CW Post. Those were our home games, 35 miles and an hour away. In hindsight, I think it may have been the best thing that happened to us because that was a regulation-sized field, long and wide, and we had the kind of players that knew how to use that field. We had skill players. On a small field, a team that doesn't know how to play but can run and kick can knock you silly. When you've got a large field and you can push the ball around, some of those teams never saw the ball. They saw the ball, they never touched the ball. There was a big difference. So in hindsight, that worked out to our advantage. I think it was quite an accomplishment. I am very proud of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. I think it's about time, but I don't think it's about time for me. I think it's about time that this team was recognized. Fred Weber, Ray Wallace, Cisco Ravito, Rosario Composto, Serge Racine, everybody on that team were great players. This is not one man's honor. This is a team's honor. And I think, gentlemen, it's well deserved. Thank you very much.